Ready? Well, first and foremost, thanks for coming this morning. I think everyone's aware that yesterday Kevin was not practicing with us, and expectation was that he would. And this morning I wanted to make sure that we were just getting in front of any questions that you guys might have in regards to that. At this point, we've made the decision that we're going to remove him from basketball activities on the floor. He'll probably continue to do conditioning and athletic performance work, but he's not making the progress that we had hoped and anticipated him making. He still has some soreness in his foot, and the protocol that's in place calls for him to be able to compete on the floor without that at this stage. So obviously it's the right decision. Difficult for him, I know. He's as we know, a competitor. He wants to be out on the floor, but the health and wellness of our players is absolutely the most important thing, and that's always going to be what we make our decisions based on. So what I'd like to do is try to provide everybody with an understanding of what the next steps are. We've always worked in this fashion in regards to these situations. So first step is identifying that he's not making the progress that we had hoped and expected, so stopping him from basketball-related activities. We're going to continue to confer and engage with the specialist team that's been put together. We've got some of the best and brightest foot and ankle specialists in the world that have come together and continue to collaborate through the process since the initial injury, and they're going to continue to do that. So what we'd like to do is get everybody the necessary information, have Kevin evaluated by the necessary people. At that point, we'll have a better understanding as to what it is that's creating the lack of progress, the continued soreness, and then I'll be back in front of you guys to provide you with whatever information that is at my disposal at that point in time. Until that point in time, it will be really hard for me to give you exact answers, because we're waiting for those as well. And we want to be in a position where we have the best understanding and information before we get in front of you. So I'm not going to speculate. We're not going to talk about conjecture or hypotheticals. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can, but we want to get the accurate information first and then be back in front of you with more info. So with that, I'd answer any questions.
Is this just through the regular season, or including playoffs, or it's just timetable to be determined?
Well, I think I think the most important thing is to state he's not going to be playing right now. When he's healthy to play and when he's able to return without that soreness, he'll be back on the floor. If that takes the rest of the regular season, if that takes the rest of the playoffs, that's what it's going to take. As I said before, the health and wellness of our players is the most important thing. This is the decision that we're making because this is the most important thing, his health.
Are you concerned that it may be a different problem, considering the fact that this new screw was put in to eliminate the pain?
Well, again, I think that's the stage that we're in right now is working to get that information and make sure that we're getting the most accurate assessment of the situation from the best and the brightest that deal with these issues, nationally and internationally. Until we have that information, I don't want to speculate on what it is, other than to say that the protocol in place was to have him be able to compete without soreness. If he's unable to do that, we have to make this decision, and that's what we're doing.
So Sam, you had said
indefinitely.
Yeah, I would say out indefinitely. Out until he's able to return and play, without that soreness in his foot. And we're gonna have to take our lead from the specialist team that's been put together.
Sam, you had said earlier it looked like the original injury, the Jones fracture, was healing properly. Does that still appear to be the case, or could that be an issue also?
Well, again, I think as I said before, right now what we've decided to do is take him off the floor so that the people that lead the processes, the people that are the experts, can make those determinations. I should have that information hopefully shortly. But we're in the process now of sending that information and getting it to the necessary people, having him evaluated by the necessary people, and we need to let them make those determinations. Each time that I, address you guys, I always want to try to give you as much as I can. I always also want to try to be as accurate as possible, and I need the physicians to give me the information that I can relay, and I'll be able to do that.
When will this evaluation take place?
We're in the process of scheduling that right now, and making sure that he can be seen by the necessary parties, and that the necessary parties have the information at their disposal prior to the evaluations.
Will that be here?
No. We've been very fortunate to have an incredibly collaborative group of specialists that have been put together and have worked very well together through this process. Through Kevin's agent, through our medical staff here in Oklahoma City, they've put together a tremendous group of physicians, and they'll all need to get the information, and then obviously build a consensus direction on next steps. After we determine why the soreness is still in persisting.
We'll be back in Charlotte where you got the original.
Yeah, I think Dr. Anderson will certainly be involved. We've also consulted Dr. Martin O'Malley from New York. He's been a part of this process from the early stages as well, and Dr. James Nunnally in North Carolina. These are three of the top foot and ankle specialists in the entire world. They've worked together collaboratively on other cases. We're very fortunate that they're working on this one, and they've been excellent through the process in terms of advising and providing a guidance and next steps.
Sam, is the goal to get him back on the court this season?
The goal is to get him back on the court healthy, whenever that is. The last thing on our mind is, ever putting a player in position to try to win a ball game at the expense of their health. That's the furthest thing from our radar. It's funny that this morning, coming in to shoot around and all those different things that are taking place. I know we play a game tonight, but that's not where my focus is right now. My focus right now is on making sure that we're being diligent, methodical, very evidence-based, and staying true to the process that's been put in place. And that's what we're doing. And as difficult as a decision it is, I think, for Kevin, just because I know how competitive it is and how much he wants to be on the floor, we have to do the right thing here and make sure we're getting all of the information, it's being assessed accurately, and then we're determining what's going to put him in the best position to go forward as a basketball player.
Would the best thing be for him to just shut it down for the rest of the season?
Well, again, I think essentially that's the direction that we're taking right now in terms of removing him from all basketball-related activities. I want to make sure that we're being true to the evaluations, providing the specialist team with the necessary information, letting them make some determinations. But I will tell you that unless he's able to be back on the floor without soreness, he won't be back on the floor, and that would be the case for any of our players in any situation. And we followed the steps that were laid out, and the progress just isn't where we want it to be. And we know we gave you guys a timeline previously. We did that for a reason, but we're not going to be married to the timeline. The timeline's inconsequential, and for us, it's about getting this solved, doing it in an efficient way, and in a way that's going to put him in the best position going forward.
How's he doing?
I think everybody here knows him. I've been around him for 8 years, and he's one of the most competitive people that I've been around. At the same time, he's also a very intelligent person. He understands that we have to do what's best for him. We have to do what's best for his health, and make sure he's getting the best treatment, the best care that we can possibly provide him. And his representation has been excellent through this as well. They understand that we have to work in concert to get the correct answers, and that until we get those, we're just not going to be in a position to put him back on the basketball floor. And we have a lot of confidence in the group that we have. We have a lot of confidence in our team, and they're going to move forward. But I know Kevin will be with them as he has this season when he hasn't been able to be out on the floor, leading and being supportive of everybody.
Sam, how do you categorize this season, or what do you file it away given all the injuries and unfortunate things that you guys have had happen?
Well, the first thing I'd do is I'd wait for the season to conclude itself. And, that's one thing we've always done. We need to wait for our entire season to play itself out. We're in a great position right now to control our own destiny. We set out to be a playoff team that could then impact the postseason. That's still within our reach. I've got a tremendous amount of confidence in the guys in our locker room and our coaching staff I think we have a better understanding as to what drives our success. We're going to have to continue to compete defensively, have great habits. I think we're going to have to be disciplined offensively. I think we're going to have to stick together because we still have, some really difficult opponents in front of us. But the measure of this team is going to be, what we accomplish, after 82 games and knowing where we stack up, and we're still far from that. So, day-by-day approach that we've enlisted since we arrived here in 2008 is, we're fully engaged in that right now, and for good reason, because when you go through these things in the NBA, if you want to be an elite team or a sustainable organization, a sustainable program, you're going to have to navigate the unexpected and the unforeseen. And I'd like to think that the fact that we're still in position to strike and control our own destiny, is an indication that we're on the right path, but we have to finish the job. And I have a lot of confidence in the group.
How has Scott Brooks performed this season, given everything that's happened around him?
Well, I think Scotty, has certainly had a lot of different things to juggle. I'm sure there have been other coaches that have had different situations like this in the past. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it's not easy when you've got a lot of guys in and out of lineups. I think he's done a really, really good job of managing that, of integrating new players that we've added. That's not an easy thing to do either. I think he's been steady the way that he has been over the years, and that's one of the great things about Scotty is, you know what you're going to get. He's going to come in each day. He's going to do the job. He's going to lead the team. He's going to have a clear idea as to what it is that is going to drive our success. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for navigating some of these things. And I think that looking forward here as we go down the stretch, I think he's going to continue to do what he's done, which is put our guys out there in a position to be successful, regardless of who's on the floor, where we're playing, when we're playing, and really have the focus be on how we're playing. And I think he deserves a lot of credit.
Sam, any update on Sarge's progress since his surgery?
Saw him this morning briefly. He's doing, he's moving around all right. We've been through, over the years these types of cleanups in the past. Guys are, moving around remarkably well, early on. But it's again, there's a set of return to play steps that need to take place for him. He's in good spirits. I think he understands that, we found ourselves in a position where that was the necessary decision, and I think he's optimistic about getting back on the floor, healthy and feeling better than he did the last time because of the swelling.
What's the severity?
Last question for Sam.
Oh, severity for Ennis? God, wow. Ennis's ankle. He's not going to be able to play this evening. I think we're going to see kind of how he responds in the next 24, 48 hours. As I said before, listen, injuries are part of sports. Injuries are part of competition, and how you deal with them and how you manage them, competitively, that's part of the measure of any team. And we'll be without Ennis tonight, but we've seen some really, really good things out of guys like McGarry, that's been pressed into duty. And we've always looked at things from an optimistic standpoint. We feel like we've got a pretty deep team, pretty versatile group of guys. I think we've got a group of guys that are really aligned and connected to try to play Thunder basketball. And fortunately for us, we've got a great group of fans that help inspire that thought process and help inspire that resiliency and the optimism that exists in Oklahoma City. So I'm excited to see our team play, and hopefully we'll have Ennis back out there soon. But the most important thing is how we're playing and our approach to the game. I've got total confidence in the guys that we're going to be ready to go.
All right, thank you, Sam.